Thanks for checking out this film review from the Dead Man's Party podcast. You could find our full archive of every unedited show if you subscribe to The Skeleton Crew on iTunes, Spotify, Podbean, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Be sure to support Dead Man's Party on Patreon. Link in the description. Enjoy the review. What's up, guys? This is Dead Man's Party, and we are ready for some Van Damage. My name is Al, and I'm feeling so good today. With my black tank top and gray pants and cowboy boots, I am ready to dance with other guys' chicks. And I am joined by the guy who likes to take photos of naked young boys swimming while he's wearing a jean vest and jeans, Chris. What's up, Chris?
Noxu cow! Noxu cow!
And I'm also joined by the Ghoul. Yeah, after that last review, dude, pack your bags and leave my house.
You bleed like my lie. My lie.
My Lee?
My Lee. Good fuck.
Oh my god.
Whatever. That was like the only quote I could take away from this movie. It was rough.
You know, when I met Tong Po, that's what he wrote on his autograph to me.
Are you serious?
No, he didn't.
Yeah, because I go, well, he goes, what do you want me to write? I go, I don't know. What do you say again in the movie? And then he says that. I go, yeah, sure, fine, write that.
That's his only line in this movie, right?
It actually might be.
I swear to God, that's his only line.
I think it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's not like Chung Lee, where he has about 3. He has like 1.
Because I was in the beginning when Van Damme sees him in the locker room. He doesn't say anything. He just does the snap.
Yeah, he crunches his own knuckles in his hands. Yeah, we're doing Kickboxer from 1989. Director Mark DeSalle and David Worth. Mark DeSalle is the man, dude. He's from the Cannon Films Company. He was huge in getting Van Damme's career going. This was written by Mark, Van Damme, and Glenn Bruce. Starring Van Damme as Kurt Sloan, Dennis Alexio as Eric Sloan, Dennis Chan as Zian, Michelle Creasy as Tong Po, Haskell Anderson as Winston Taylor, and Rochelle Ashana as Melee, or whatever you said.
I fucked it up. Miley.
Yep.
You bleed like Miley. Miley. Good fuck.
And Ka Ting Lee as Freddy Lee. Wow, he kept his last name. Great. Made it easier. All right, so Kickboxer, you know, this movie is right up there with Bloodsport as being known as, you know, Van Damme's cult classics. This is the movies where it's pretty much like untouchable whenever you talk about Van Damme and you talk about his best stuff. You pretty much can mention Kickboxer and Bloodsport in the same breath, and nobody will argue with you. So, what do you guys think about that? As far as this being like his second real movie, he did No Retreat, No Surrender, but it was kind of a bit part.
I don't even know what that is.
Yeah, I've never heard of that.
Really? Wow.
No.
Well, that's the thing. You're the Van Damme guy, so you would know. But Bloodsport and this are like hand in hand. No pun intended. You literally, when you watch Bloodsport, you watch Kickboxer right after, basically. Like at any time you watch, even if you're just throwing it on just to do it, the other one comes on just because you're feeling the fucking enthusiasm from Bloodsport, or vice versa. Even if you watch Kickboxer, that's what I did. I watched Kickboxer first this week, and then I watched Bloodsport again.
Right. What do you think, Chris? They go hand in hand, right?
They do, but we'll get to it later. I don't think Kickboxer is on the same tier that Bloodsport is.
Yeah. When I met Tong Po, he asked me which is my favorite movie because he was in both of them.
Can I ask just a question about the sequels for Kickboxer? Is the guy who plays Tong Po in all those sequels?
No. He was in like 2 and maybe 4.
Jesus Christ.
As Tong Po or as someone else?
Yeah, Tong Po.
Okay.
After reading that shit about the sequels, I was like, I kind of want to watch them just because they sound terrible. But I hate the idea of what they do to the main character from this one.
Oh yeah, it's terrible.
It's fucking stupid.
Tong Po, he shows up, and it's like he's not. His makeup is terrible because what do you? I guess we'll talk about Tong Po for a little bit. Like, so what do you guys think about his overall look and stuff? Because I always found him to be pretty disturbing looking.
Extremely. I think just from an aesthetic point of view, I think he's awesome looking. He I don't know how tall he is in real life, but in this movie he looks like he's really tall. He's got, his head is shaved except for that long ponytail that's braided. He's clear. Now, I never picked up on this when I was a kid, but knowing now that he's the same guy that's in Bloodsport, which I just found out a few years ago, he looks so different. They clearly have makeup and prosthetics like on his face, his cheeks and all that, eyes, around his eyes. Yeah, to make him look like his whole face looks structured differently than it actually is. But no, I think just from a pure aesthetic position, he looks awesome, man.
Oh, amazing.
He's fucking terrifying. And like I said, I think the last time I watched this was like 2020, so it was a few years ago. I didn't realize just when he fights Eric, as soon they don't even have like a starting bell or anything. He just puts his fucking hands up and just rush. And he doesn't even rush. He just walks. And she has this fucking stride, and Eric doesn't fucking expect it, but just the hands up and just going for it, he's so confident, he's like, I'm gonna fucking kill this guy.
Oh, it's just like when Rocky fought Drago. Drago wastes 0 seconds, runs out and just starts beating the living fuck out of Rocky immediately.
Yeah, it's fucking terrifying. But the hands up thing, I don't know what it is. It's so
it's so creepy.
It's just awesome. It's taunting.
All his mannerisms are so strange and otherworldly. I told him, I said, I don't even know how you came up with all this stuff. Tong Po just doesn't seem from this planet in a lot of ways.
Yeah, all those fucking when he was in the ring before the fight, doing those leg movements, he's lifting his knees up in the air and shit, kind of dancing around the ring, almost like some kind of ritualistic thing.
Yeah. I will say, watching this movie made my shins hurt. Because
oh my god!
Yeah, what's worse?
We'll get to that. Yeah.
Fucking Jesus! He's just bashing his fucking shit up against a concrete beam.
Yeah.
And the building was falling down. So what? Can he move like me?
Oh.
I was like, what the fuck? But okay, let's start. So it opens with his brother Eric Sloan. He's fighting a dude. There are some hilarious moments here. Now, let's point out, all the fighting was choreographed by Van Damme.
Yes.
All of it. So he chose everything, and some of it was funny, but I'll say 95% of this was incredible.
Oh, yeah, no, you love those backhanded roundhouse fucking reverse punches that his brother's doing, right?
Dude. That is hilarious.
Those are kick ass. I love that.
Yeah, that's so funny to me.
It's funny, but I was I think the sound design on this movie, or whatever you want to call it, on this movie works in its favor, because when he does that first initial this and then does the spin backhand with the boxing glove, the sound that makes, I would imagine that fucking hurts like hell, because and the sound adds to it. I was like, oh, I can fucking feel that.
Oh yeah, it's all so good. When you compare these movies, Bloodsport or Kickboxer, to their sequels, the thing that makes these two so great, not only that Van Damme is in them and he does an excellent job in both, but it's that it's directed properly, everything's captured properly, and the sound design is so good. And that does not happen in any of the other ones. Some of the fighting is a little quicker and more elaborate, and even the sequel to Bloodsport, I think. And but although it is, sometimes too much gets lost, and sometimes the more simplistic things are more memorable. And I think that's where this really comes into play for these movies. But Yeah, his brother has to be the cockiest prick I have ever seen in my life. And he gets done fighting this guy and says, yeah, I'm kicking ass wherever I go. And just because some reporter goes, hey, you should go to Thailand. Supposedly they have the greatest fighters. He's like, okay, kid, book us a flight to...
Yeah, that's all it took. Like he wouldn't have already known that. Right. That he would have already known who Tong Po was. He'd have known all about that scene. And B, just because some fucking dildo newspaper reporter says that, he's just like, okay, let's go. And that's it.
The whole movie would have not taken place had this asshole...
If that one fucking guy not told him about Bangkok and Tong Po.
Right.
Well, that's I was gonna say, one, Eric the Eliminator is a fucking fantastic moniker to have. I was like, he just fights Tong Po without any knowledge of this guy.
Yeah,
like nothing. I'm like, if I even saw a picture of the guy, I'd be like, fights off, no fucking thank you.
Right. I would never, even looking at him, like you said, I would be like, yeah, I think we should go somewhere else actually this summer.
Right. Yeah.
Like, I don't know what is happening here, but, well, they're on their way there, and they're, like, on the river, or whatever you want to call it. There's these naked kids jumping into the water, and fucking Kirk pulls his camera out.
I swear to God. Several naked little boys jumping into the shit brown water, and Van Damme turns around and takes a picture of them.
Snaps a photo. Like, he would be arrested.
So they were full on naked, right?
Mm-hmm.
Totally.
Okay,
I paused it for like 5 minutes and just stared.
And he does it in a denim vest with no shirt underneath.
I had to, because to watch this, I had to watch it on this laptop, and the site that I used didn't give me the best quality.
Ugh.
So I could very rarely make out certain parts. And so, all right, I confirmed, because I thought they were wearing, like, maybe, like, I don't know. All right, they were full on, okay.
They were naked, yeah.
Confirming what I thought, but I was...
Naked as a newborn baby.
And they're playing that amazing song, Everybody Loves a Winner.
Everybody loves a winner. Oh, I love these songs, dude.
That's incredible, dude.
This movie nails every cheesy 80s song ever.
With this, Bloodsport, and Lionheart, and maybe Death Warrant, Van Damme has a structural story. Like, he structures movies the same way every time, but it works. Yeah.
Well, he sure does for Lionheart with Bloodsport, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like when they finally get to Bangkok, I guess, and they're walking down the downtown strip or whatever, and all it is sex bars. Did you notice all the signage?
Right.
One called Pussy Alive. Then there was one called Jugs Bar. Then there was one called Thigh Bar. All it was just fucking like hookers and fucking strippers and shit.
So
I mean,
wholesome.
I know that's a stereotype for over there, and maybe it's legit. I have no idea. It's probably real.
I was gonna say, well, this was like I always say, the time when movies were actually shot on location.
Yeah.
I'm sure these places existed.
Yeah.
Pussy Alive. That's where I would hang out every weekend if we had one of those.
Oh, I'd be hitting up Jugs Bar all the time.
So these two assholes are practicing in the park, and apparently they couldn't get a permit to film this because everyone's standing around watching them. And it's like,
and they trained for what, like 30 seconds, and then called it a day.
Enough of this tip tap shit. I like how he just keeps talking down to Kurt all the time. He is such an asshole. I think this guy masturbates in front of a mirror. And he finishes real quick.
And at one point, Van Damme just walks away all of a sudden and just walks over to this guy who's got these birds in a cage, and he just like looks at him, and then that's over like that. So I have no fucking idea why that was even thrown in there.
Yeah, like
it was so bizarre.
Yeah,
to show how boring his brother is. Even birds are more interesting.
Yeah. Oh. Well, I was also just loving like obviously you don't come to these movies for the dialogue, but just like the shit they're saying to each other, plus also Van Damme's early accent, or actually I wouldn't even say early accent in this movie is rough, but it's funny. But when they're like, it's a good, like, because they were obviously, he says they were raised separately, basically. Like Van Damme lived with the mom,
and
Eric
thank
with the
God
dad.
they said that, because up to that point I was like, And how the fuck are they brothers? Why do they sound like they're from completely different countries?
Right. It's a good thing we love each other because we're brothers. It's like just the most generic shit you would see. It's like, oh my God. But his delivery makes it like, I wouldn't say like, I don't want to say like believable. I'm like, yeah, I'm like, and it just makes it seem like he believes in what he's saying as like actor. So it kind of sells it better. Like it's just it's a Van Damme thing strictly. Or I should say that because Seagal's the same way.
Right. So now we're ready for the fight. They're in the dressing room. He wants to get iced down and all this shit. And Kurt goes off at wandering because he keeps hearing boom, boom. And all you see, I love like when you first like peek into the room, all you see is Tong Po's ponytail flailing around and like his hand as he's doing the kick and stuff. You're like, what is happening in there? And you go in and he's kicking a beam in the building.
A giant cement support beam.
I was gonna say, it's like
kicking
holding up
over
the
and
building.
over. Yeah.
And the concrete keeps falling to the ground.
He's basically kicking like, you guys get one of these.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
like
except
that.
It's like 5 times thicker.
Right.
I'd say.
Fucking insane.
I could see doing this maybe to toughen up that part of your shin so that you could kick people and it doesn't hurt you. But is this necessary immediately before entering a match? Shouldn't you be doing this like your whole life while you're training?
Would it ever be necessary to kick a cement? I mean, that's not going to strengthen your leg.
Right.
Or no, just like make it calloused or something. Like, you know.
Well, okay. Yeah, I know. But Jesus Christ. And Van Damme, when he sees that, he looks like he just saw someone get their fucking head severed right in front of his face.
Yeah.
He immediately goes back to his brother. He's like, gotta call it off. This guy fucking crazy.
This guy's crazy.
I saw the look in his eyes. And the brother's like, so what? Can he move like me? And throws like this 12-punch quick combination in the air. And was like, oh, yeah, you're badass, dude.
Oh, that'll do it. Yeah, Tong Po, watch out.
Yeah.
He could punch you 12 times in 3 seconds, and not one of them will have power to it.
Right.
Yeah, but yeah, it's crazy how they like that for introduction for just a villain in general is that's enough to be like, all right, yeah, no fucking thank you. Like I'm also I don't want to fight this guy. Nope.
He goes, shut up. He tries to tell him this. He says, shut up or go the fuck home. Like, okay, so you don't want to know anything. So
much for that brotherly love.
Yeah, whatever that stuff they're talking about.
So they didn't show any of Tong Po before this scene, right? Or did they?
No.
Okay, that's what I thought. Okay.
And I think one of the most disturbing things about Tong Po is that they used that makeup to... Because obviously Michelle Quisi isn't the nationality. He's not from Thailand.
Right.
So they used like a different type of guy and did him up to look like that, which is very off-putting. Because it doesn't all gel. So it's even more creepy and shocking. And his body is so pale... And it's smooth, like there's no hair on Tong Po at all, except for like his eyebrows and the ponytail. So like there's a lot going on to his aesthetic that makes him overall very, and he's not muscular, so it's also more disturbing.
He's muscular, but just in like a lean,
smooth way.
Just smooth in shape kind of way. Yeah, he's not jacked or anything.
Yeah.
He's not even like Van Damme.
He just doesn't seem like a human being.
No. So the first round is brutal. Like, him and Eric, it is emasculating, honestly. Like, he looks like he's dry humping him into the ropes.
Yeah.
Like, and all these knees to the rib cage. Like,
he kneed him in the ribs so many fucking times. That guy's ribs would have been fucking mashed potatoes after that first round.
Yeah.
Just over and over and over knees to the ribs.
It's fucking insane. And it's not like that thing that we usually talk about with like certain fighting movies where they do like the double up, where they like use kind of like the same cup and they speed it up. It's a fucking, he's just doing it and doing it.
One after another. Yeah.
It's fucking,
when he's kneeing him back and forth in each rib, sometimes he's holding his head and doing it, and then other times he has one leg up and he's doing it. Did you notice that as it keeps cutting back and forth?
No, I did not pick up on that part.
I noticed it a little bit, yeah.
Yeah. Like, at one point, he's holding Kirk's leg up, like, with his arm and jumping and kneeing into him. And at another time, he's holding his head while he's doing it as it keeps cutting from different angles. And it's clearly not the same moment. I couldn't understand. They could have separated the two moments, but they like kind of interspliced them. It was a strange choice. It never bothered me, but I definitely, even as a child, like at 14, I noticed it, and I was like, wow.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, my whole life.
Wow, you were obsessed with editing even back then.
Yeah, I guess so. So he pulls an Apollo Creed where he's like, he talks about something else. He's like, God, this music's loud.
I forgot about that line until I watched it this time.
He's like, this fucking music's driving me crazy.
Yeah.
It's like, really? Not the guy who's fucking collapsing your lungs right now? That's not driving you crazy? So he goes, listen, we gotta stop. You cannot beat this guy. I don't know what he says, but like, he goes, nah, man. And he does an Apollo Creed. He goes out there. What would possess him to go back out there?
He's arrogant.
His pride, his arrogance,
pride, yeah.
This was a total Apollo versus Drago moment. This whole second round. A, it's the second round just like that fight. Right. B, he got annihilated the entire first round. And C, the towel, Van Damme actually does throw in the towel in this fight, unlike Rocky.
And Poe somehow rejects it?
Tong Po kicks it back.
Is that a thing? Can you do that?
Well, I guess in Thailand.
Well, it's because like they don't play the same way that Americans play.
They're not going to fuck with Tong Po. Whatever he says goes, I'm sure.
Right? Yeah.
Why didn't Eric pull out that 12-punch squishy thing he does during this fight? Why didn't he go, you know what? It might be time for that thing I talked about in the locker room.
I don't think he could have been capable of it after that first round. Even when they show him just up against the fucking, just the way he looks. No, stop. You can't even open your eyes. Like, he has a half an eye open.
Right.
Like,
so he gets a couple elbows to the face, kicked in the legs, goes down, and then Tong Po, he throws a towel and he kicks it out. Tong Po cracks him with his elbow right in the middle of his back, and he is out flat. Kurt's yelling in his face, calling him an asshole, and Tong Po just stomps him out of the ring. And here's the part that really is bizarre. He goes flying into Winston's lap with those two chicks that are with him, and then he's like, hey, man, get the hell off me, man. What are you doing? And the next cut is Tong Po ripping the Eric's championship belt in half and just throwing it on the ground, showing it doesn't mean anything to them in Thailand. And the very next scene, Winston's holding Van Damme and won't let him up. He's like, no, man, stay here, man. It's like, wait a minute, weren't you just saying get the hell off me and now you're telling them you can't leave? Did you guys notice that?
Yeah.
I did. And did you notice when they load the brother into that fucking van outside, they put his championship belt on him?
Right.
After Tong Po had already ripped it in half, but yet they lay the fully intact belt on top of it.
No, was it intact? I thought it wasn't.
The whole belt, yes.
Yeah, it definitely was.
I missed that. I thought it was in two pieces. Wow.
Well, I mean, technically it was supposed to be, but no, they left it intact. But I just thought it was more impressive the fact that Tong Po was able to rip that thing in half while still wearing the fucking boxing gloves.
Yeah, because those belts like that, they're made of like real leather in real life, and he ripped it like it was made of fucking paper mache.
It looked like cardboard.
Yeah.
How did he know he'd be able to? Like, I wouldn't even risk doing that with everybody watching because I'd be like. Got this thing out. No one's looking, right? Nah, forget it. And just throw it on the ground.
Yeah, could you just cut a little slice in it so I have some give?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So they leave Eric's body in the street on a stretcher.
Unfucking real.
Oh, dude.
I always forget about that part when they just take him out and they're like, all right, see ya.
Why don't they just, put him in the ambulance and charge him $10,000 like they do here in America? Winston kicks these two hot girls. Like, I don't even know how he has these girls, if they're both okay with this relationship, what's going on, if they're just hookers. I don't know what this is, but he kicks them out of his Pinto and loads this body in there and takes him to the hospital. So they tell him that his 10th vertebrae is cracked. He will never walk again. And Van Damme is like threatening the doctor. No, you're going to make him walk again. You hear me? You're going to make him walk again. You're going to make him walk. And he's like, okay. Hey, dude, what are you doing? You can't make him walk again.
You know what's wild about this whole thing, though? Van Damme and Eric end up in a hospital, very much like Laurie and Michael Myers in Halloween 2.
I thought you were going to say Bloodsport with Jackson.
Oh, I got him!
Wow. That was ridiculous. That was the worst crammed-in Halloween 2 gag I ever heard.
I texted Ghoul yesterday. I was like, dude, I got nothing for Kickboxer on the Halloween 2 front. He said, I got something, but it's a hell of a reach. And he told me, I said, you have to say that. I'm not saying that.
I'm so glad that you thought I was going somewhere else.
I know. I'm like, yeah, dude, wow. I thought that too. And he says Halloween 2. Ugh. I'm so glad this isn't a video podcast. So they him and Winston get into this very intense conversation for two guys who met each other 8 hours ago. And he's like, I'm not signing your death warrant 2. And he goes, why? Part 1 was so good.
Even though it hadn't happened yet.
Yeah, it hasn't even happened. But one's gonna be great. We got this guy, Patrick Kilpatrick. You're gonna love him. Yeah, they get into this huge argument. The only way to Poe is in the ring, and you are not good enough. Now, how does he know that?
Yeah, he has no idea what kind of fighting experience he has.
They established that Van Damme does have some experience, right? Despite only being Eric's manager or whatever.
Yeah, when he was kicking him, he was like, enough of that tip-tap shit. I told you, power.
They did infer that he was a fighter somehow, or did they not?
He's had training, but I don't think he's been an official fighter kind of thing. Like, because Eric was the one who was...
Okay, because after the Eric fight, when he decides he wants to learn Muay Thai, I thought, wait a minute, does he even have any fucking fighting experience whatsoever?
Yeah, he said he was ballet training.
That's right.
I mean, that's like, he's got no experience in that shit, but yet he wants to fight Tong Po. That's like someone back in 1988 basically having no boxing experience and wanting to fight prime Mike Tyson.
Right.
I want Mike Tyson!
Yeah, and in 3 months, I'm going to be good enough.
Exactly. That's not how it works.
Well, that's actually, you're probably right, Chris, is because, like, that scene in the park in the beginning when Eric is training Van Damme, basically, and he's like, enough of that tip-tap shit. So I don't really think he actually does have any in-ring experience.
It, obviously, but as far as himself, they don't really say anything.
Yeah, no in-ring experience, I would assume. Just like stuff from his brother.
Right. Yeah, so Van Damme's just walking around town, and he's hearing, fight for love.
We have another Van Damme being sad, walking around with the music montage.
Dude, he's walking around with his fucking hands in his pockets, like a kid who just got his kickball stolen, man. Yeah,
it's a thing. Like I said, he structures his original movies, all the same way because it happens in this, happens in Bloodsport, happens in Lionheart. Death Warrant, I'm sure, probably has him being sad somewhere, if I recall.
Yeah, when he's getting ass raped in prison. Because he drank too much hooch and passed out, and he went to the tranny section. He stumbled into the wrong fucking corridor. He's like, oh, yeah, wrong turn.
Jesus Christ.
That's what they should make Death Warrant 2, wrong turn.
Even the guards won't go there. So he goes to the Muay Thai school, which is fucking packed. I mean, how much money does this guy pull in a month? There are like 80 kids in this school. I was like, holy shit. And he tells them he wants to fight Tong Po, and everybody just laughs him out of the school. And honestly, just one look at that teacher. Does that teacher look like he could teach you to fight better than Tong Po? I mean, and how eccentric is it to walk into a Muay Thai school and say, "Hi, I want to learn this," and then point and say, "I want to fight him." Like, you could save that bit of information and have some, like, dignity or have some respect by the people around you, and just, you know, you can leave that out. You can keep that to yourself, but let's just get to the part where the guy says, "Okay, so how much money is it a month?" and whatever. To instantly tell someone you want to fight, that's like Chris said, walking into a boxing club and saying, "Hi, I want to learn to box. Yeah, I want Mike Tyson."
Right, yeah. You just want to go straight for the gusto, yeah.
So weird.
It's like me if I was like, Alex, can you teach me a podcast? I want to start my own better podcast.
It'd be like, I want more subscribers than Joe Rogan in 3 months.
Right, okay, there you go.
Yeah.
So, Winston agrees. He's just been following him, I guess, and he agrees to bring him to Zian. Are we saying this guy's name right? Because we're going to say it like 20 times. Zian?
I think it's
Zian, I think.
But yeah, you can go with Zian.
Zian, that's his name, guys.
We can't skip over the part where he takes Van Damme to that Asian strip club.
Yes. Man.
Some of those chicks, especially one of them that was like facing the camera directly, dude, she had a rack on her, man. She had a rack almost like my girl from CN6.
Oh God. That is random.
My unknown, unnamed mistress from CN6.
No, we know the name. We just have to.
We just can't find her.
Oh, yeah, you're right. God,
we did do that detective shit last week.
We just couldn't find her. How come nobody squashed a cockroach while they were there? And then just went about the conversation. So he meets... Oh, so we get Winston's like... Oh, yeah, this actually comes up later. So we get Winston's backstory about how he was in, like, some war... And how
I think he's in Vietnam.
Okay, Vietnam, and like a guy who showed him how to survive and come out alive. How that guy needed him one day, and he wasn't there to save him. Remember that. Okay, so we meet Zian. Van Damme steps into a trap like Scott from Friday the 13th Part 2.
That's fucking crazy because I literally just watched Friday 2 last night.
Ghoul, did you think of Van Damme when you saw that part?
No, because I love Friday the 13th Part 2 so much that I just think of that, but that's fucking crazy. I literally was just watching that, like, probably actually at like 1 in the morning, so that's wild. So I technically watched it today.
Wow, nice. You watched it the same day we're reviewing this. Great.
That'd be great if Sackhead Jason would have stepped out and cut Van Damme's throat when he was hanging upside down.
Right? So Zian does this fucking... I sent it to you guys.
Oh, my God.
I have this in my notes.
You describe what you wrote, because I don't even know what to say here.
Okay. He says, "Good defense?" And Van Damme says, "Yeah." So then Zian jumps straight up in the air and kicks his leg 4 to 5 times at Van Damme's face without landing, and then throws 2 punches all before he even lands back down on the ground.
But he's spinning in 360s the whole time, right?
Was he?
That's how I took it.
Oh, okay. I just thought he was just throwing rapid fire kicks at. Maybe he did spin. I don't. It was so bizarre and otherworldly. I just couldn't even process it almost.
I think they show him spin once, but it is meant to imply that he spin once and does all that shit in the same moment.
Oh my God.
All before going down to the ground.
Yeah, all I have in my notes, Zian doing that jump in the air move is fucking hilarious.
And it was shot in such a way where you don't really know what's happening. Like, it wasn't a long shot.
He's almost like that I would expect out of fucking Mortal Kombat.
Right.
Because it makes more sense because there's like magic involved.
That was like something almost that you'd see in like a Naked Gun movie.
Yeah,
it was so ridiculous.
Right, yeah.
How come in the movie before this, Bloodsport, when the guy chops the kid's hat off, he goes, "You have fighting spirit. You didn't flinch." Meanwhile, in this one, he goes, "You have lousy defense." Like, neither one of them fucking reacted, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, good point.
But here he has lousy defense. There, he's going to be a great warrior. Because he fucking stood there and got his hat cut off. Meanwhile, a sword swipe is 1,000 times quicker than what just happened here. I don't think any of us would have reacted. Chris would have finally got that hat. He got rid of that hat because he would have cut the bill off. He wouldn't have reacted either.
Fucking ridiculous.
So Van Damme has to do some grocery shopping at the niece's store. She explains that, you know, Freddy Lee is the guy who runs shit, and like Tong Po is his lieutenant, and he has all these guys who, like, you know, just terrorize the neighborhood and take money, kind of like protection money or whatever you want to call it. They have to pay a tax, I guess. So Van Damme, she explains all this to him, say that if you don't do this, there's a lot of trouble. So he goes, oh, wow, really? Then proceeds to kick this guy in the face, knock him off the store, destroy the entire store in doing so of kicking their asses. What does he think that's going to get anybody?
Right. He's perplexed why she's upset that he ruined her store instead of giving those guys their cut.
Right, which they've been doing for years.
Right. So she obviously knows how to live, sustain herself by even with giving those guys their cut.
Right.
Now she's going to have to rebuild half her fucking store.
I worked for days cleaning it up. 4 days? No, 4 days. F-O-R.
Wait. So was it 4 days, or like was it F-O-R or the number 4 days?
I think it's supposed to be F-O-R.
That's what I think.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't take that long. That store's not that big, sweetheart. No offense.
Still, though, it wouldn't take you days to clean that up. It's not like
20 minutes.
It's not like they took a wrecking ball to the whole store.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, come on, he knocked over a fucking basket of turnips and onions, okay? It's not going to take that long.
Yeah, they didn't fuck it up like Creepshow 2 or something. Like, they didn't
Oh my
blow the
god.
place to bits. Like,
Does it work? The fucking photo booth doesn't
work? Oh my god. You see this hair, man? So, Zian decides to train Kurt. So when he starts training, you see this bird fly overhead, and Zian looks up at it and stuff like that. Did you guys ever tie stakes to your legs and run faster because a dog was chasing you?
I like that a lot.
Again, that was a total like Looney Tunes moment. Ties a fucking stake or whatever to his waistband. Dogs chase him, and they speed the footage up so it makes it look like he's running like super fast.
Right.
Like the fucking Tasmanian devil or something. It's ridiculous. And yet somehow he's outrunning the dog, which
Yeah, bullshit he was.
you can find the slowest dog in the world and you can't outrun it.
No. When he said, here, this will make you run faster, I thought he was going to fry it up and eat it. It would be like protein. And it would make him run faster. I was like, oh, he's going to tie to his legs. Oh, okay. So he has a romantic moment with Mai Li. He's like, I'm going to need all the help I can get. And it's like such a movie moment, right? When he says that to her. And then it's like dark, and he like hooks up with her, and she like is terrified and gets on this moped and rides away. So
She's terrified.
So he gets these sticks with like little boxing gloves at the end of it, and he's like punching Kurt in the face with it, and he's like training where like these warriors train.
Stone City.
Yeah, what do you think of that?
I thought that was fucking badass. I love that. Because as I said, when movies were actually shot in places where they were meant to be, like this was definitely a real place, and it adds to it. Yeah, it's fucking awesome.
Yeah, I love that shit, man, on TV when you see like authentic old like ruins of villages and stuff that still exists where people used to live. It's creepy, but it's just so awesome too.
Yeah. Well, it also comes into effect later because he
starts hearing it.
Yeah, he starts hearing it, yeah.
Yeah, he said, listen, because that's where ancient warriors train, and he goes, listen for what? He goes, just listen. So he knew that he'd get there one day.
Yeah. Well, then you also have the bird is also, they keep intercutting to the birds there every time he's there.
Right. I don't know what the bird ultimately meant. Because, like, what? It doesn't, like, come at the end as some big realization or anything. I guess it just shows us that, like, something's watching over him, or
I don't. Was it supposed to symbolize like the ancient warriors or something, like tying it back to them or something like that? I guess.
Yeah, it's almost like it should have mixed like this. It's crazy because this is after Bloodsport, so he should have taken a cue from Bloodsport, which I'm sure we'll get into. Is his trainer in that says, "My spirit will be with you, fighting alongside you." He should have had like something like that explaining for the bird.
Right. You know, they could have tied the bird back in. When he kicks the tree, the bird could have like fell out of it when it fell over.
He just kills it.
It's like, oh shit, I know he was up there.
Whoops.
So he has to spread his legs for Zian. So he ties into this contraption that pulls his legs apart, and when you look at his thigh muscles, it looks painful.
Oh, it's horrible. Makes my legs just feel like they're getting ripped apart every time. What is it about these Van Damme movies where, because they do it in Bloodsport too, right?
Yeah.
When they're stretching his fuck. Oh yeah, because he's doing the splits on that and on that rope thing.
Yeah, it's like to show that he's a guy that can do this, like that can split is all it is.
Yes, yeah.
But it's like fucking psychotic.
Right. So then we get a little bit of the palm tree, then it goes away, but it comes back. So then you see another Tong Po fight, and he's kicking more ass, just killing guys. Everyone's a joke. It's like everyone's defenseless. Nobody could do anything. Tong Po is just untouchable, so they want to reestablish that it's not just Kurt's brother who's a loser. They want to show that nobody could beat this guy. Now we get to the palm tree moment where we go into high gear. So he's kicking it, and he's like, enough. And he goes, kick the tree. And he goes, you want me to break my fucking leg? And he's like, take your bags and leave my house. And he goes, what? And then he like pushes, he says like this to Miley to get away. Like something crazy's gonna happen, which I guess it does. And he goes, your brother, remember Kurt? And then you start seeing the flashes of Tong Po like fucking crippling this guy. He's like, you want this? How about this? You want this? And they look up, and this tree is like shaking for real. And then he just keeps on going. And now this is where editing really comes into play, because I've imagined this scene without the edit, and it's not that exciting. It's still brutal, but not as exciting. But the way they cut it, and it was like, bam, 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 and then it like just comes down so quickly instead of how it happened in real life, it really is one of the, in my opinion, greatest movie moments.
Now, that's a palm tree, right? Not a bamboo tree or a whatever.
It's funny you said that. The whole time I was watching it, I just, for some reason, was thinking bamboo, but they actually do say palm tree.
I was going to say, yeah, that's what I have in my notes. So wouldn't a palm tree be way easier to take down?
No.
Really?
I've kicked a palm tree as a joke. When I was on vacation last year, there was one, so my wife goes, do that thing from Kickboxer. So that I like do a fake kick. I actually kicked it for real once, not hard, but just to see what it feels like against that bone. Dude, there's no way you could have done this. I want to see somebody kick a palm tree, because there's no way.
Every time I watch this, I can, honest to God, literally feel my shin like pulsating almost. It's brutal. And it's not even like a gory, like I can handle gore, but something like this, it is fucking brutal to watch.
Because that's real pain. That's the thing.
Yes.
That's like shit you experience on, like you could fucking bump your fucking shin into a like corner table today, and it would fucking still hurt like hell.
It's essentially someone taking a bat to your shin.
Yeah.
Oh.
Tong Po had it easier. Him kicking that beam was at least wider, so it was the whole shin at once hitting it. But when you're just hitting a specific point in your shin, it's way more painful.
Right, yeah.
Just think about kicking just like a metal pipe that's like, about that big around. That's straight up and down. Kicking that and hitting that same spot over and over would hurt 10 times more than kicking a metal pipe that's this big around. And
right, yeah.
It's weird how that works, but it's true.
It's like
it's more pinpointed pain.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, like if you're doing something wider, it's going to disperse the pain.
Right. It's more focused in that one little spot. which is
right.
Yeah, it's crazy. But yeah, it was one of the greatest moments ever. Like, once this scene starts, I'm always so jacked for it. It's really one of the most memorable scenes ever of Van Damme movies in history, right?
100%.
Everybody knows that scene.
Well, you got the training montages between this and like the little bit of, and then the fighting montages in Bloodsport. That's like the Van Damme right there.
So after he kicks this tree, do you guys notice that he suddenly carries himself like a boss? He looks better when he's training. He goes from like a beta to an alpha in that moment. Like, you notice, like, his body even looks like a man now, and strong and very cut and lean and perfect and muscular. Like, it's completely different than how he carried himself when he first got there.
I did not pick up on that.
I kind of did the reverse of that, where I always thought, I feel like it must have been, because he's clearly in 100% like the best shape to begin with. So it must be hard for him to portray being weaker than the person he's going up against.
Right.
Which he does a good job at, I'll give him that.
Yeah, it's even reaffirmed when the guy now drops a coconut from 50 feet high instead of 5 feet.
Do you know how fucking bad that would hurt?
Oh, he said, "I'm okay."
And he drops the second one.
Yeah, and he goes,
yeah, exactly. Yeah, then they cut.
What if the guy dropped it and it landed on his dick? Like, how is Zian so good at this?
Or his fucking kneecap, or his throat.
Or his head.
Would you trust him? I go, bro, I'm sorry. I know that you're a master at all this, but I am not letting you drop anything on me from that high.
I trust that guy. I don't trust gravity. Like,
Right.
Or wind.
Right, yeah. Any of that, yeah. No thanks.
Yeah, what if it just drags it a few inches the wrong way? Like, what if you dropped it on my heart?
Right.
So, Eric randomly grabs this nurse's ass for whatever. It just shows he's the same old douche, paralyzed or not, I guess. Right?
I was hoping you'd bring that up.
He's a douche. That's all he is. He's a
Well, the best
total...
part is that's not even like a real scene. That's just another montage.
No, it's a real scene, but it lasts like 10 seconds.
Well, that's what I mean. I consider it, yeah. But it's funny because he does that, and then the doctor just like looks at the nurse, he like dismisses her, like, get out, like, these fucking dirty Americans.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's such a dick. So he takes Kirk to this bar where they both, like, it's like you two hanging out, I guess. They knock back like 13 shots of the Kiss of Death. Well, now, you guys are big shot guys. Would you drink the Kiss of Death?
100%.
Oh, absolutely.
Just to say you did what they did?
Yeah.
Fucking question.
I would too, actually, if I was still a drinker. Which I'm thinking of going back to.
Yeah, right.
So this song comes on. So he gets them all liquored up, and then he wants him to dance. Zian tells this woman to come dance with this guy. She's like, oh, okay, yeah. There's like zero hesitation. She's not concerned at all that she's with a guy who's staring at this. And then Van Damme like fingers the other girl to come over, and she does. Like, do these girls? No, not that way. Do these guys? He fingers her, then she goes, "Wow, I'm gonna dance with you." That was so good. Do these girls realize that after this dance is over, they have to go back to the people that they came here with?
There's a lot to unpack to this scene.
So what do you guys think of the famous dancing scene?
I mean, I've just seen it a million times over the years. Just that random fucking...
He's done it on talk shows.
It's like the actual, like, whenever people say kickboxer, that's like the image that comes to people's mind.
Yeah. Dude, if I could dance like that, I'd go to bars every weekend.
I was going to say, you can dance like that. How hard is it? You just put your hands up and go...
Right.
Why is he clapping?
He's drunk. He's feeling it.
So Zian tells everyone that he said their mothers have sex with mules and that they're not great fighters. So one by one.
Oh, I laughed so hard when he said that, when he explained to him after the fighting. He was like, I told him you said the mother had sex with mules.
Why you tell them that?
And I was like, I've seen videos like that before. That's hot.
Oh.
No, I meant, ugh, gross.
Didn't Madonna do that? Didn't she have sex with a horse?
I'm sure. I don't know. Did she? Is that a thing?
Yeah.
Did she supposedly?
Yeah.
Wow.
Dude, that's the next phase in the world. Bestiality. It'll get there in your lifetime. You watch.
Holy shit.
So, yeah, what do you guys think of him kicking all these guys' asses in this place? Was that not fucking amazing?
I fucking loved it.
even though he was fucking 3 sheets to the wind, just shit-faced drunk.
Well, that's what I was that the test from Zian was like to see
test his balance and his awareness and all that stuff.
Right, yeah. I thought it was fucking awesome.
Didn't it all seem so easy? Like, when Van Damme was doing this, he seemed like completely indestructible. Like no one could land a single thing on him.
Right.
It always made me wish like I could ever train to be that good at fighting. Like, can you be that good? It's right. You couldn't, right? Like
no, like there's the famous saying, like no matter how good you are, there's always someone better.
Right. Like no one could do anything at all to him.
Well, that's what I was going to say in this scene. Were those guys actually fighters, or were they just like Joe Schmo at the bar?
Yeah, they were just henchmen. They were just goons.
No, because he said you're not good fighters and your mom has sex with mules. So they were all like the other kickboxers.
You're right. You're right.
Okay,
you're right.
So like I don't get it. So he does all this in front of Freddy Lee. Zian tells him to set him up in some sanctioned fights. So we quickly get to the first fight right after this, and it turns into a pissing contest, basically, and it mirrors the fight in Bloodsport with Paco, because it becomes a rib cage kicking contest.
Yes.
Exact same. Yep. It was the Paco fight, just extended. Trading abdomen kicks, 10, 12 times each? Back and forth. It got cartoonish at a point, because it's like, are they just going to fucking do this the whole time?
Kirk was like, come on! He like did the head tilt and he kept kicking. Like, he was...
Well, he does that in Bloodsport, too.
Oh, maybe I'm mixing it then. Maybe I'm mixing it.
Yeah, in Bloodsport, he looks at him and is like, come on! And boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
I think I'm mixing it. Never mind.
But as you were saying with the sound design of this, the sound of those kicks, I'm like, these guys sound like their ribs would have been, like you said earlier, Chris, mashed fucking potatoes.
Absolutely. It'd be fucking sawdust at this point.
Yeah.
And he does 4 more kicks, and pretty much the fight's over. He looks amazing. Again, he's totally charismatic. All the fights are memorable. Like, we're laughing at it now because it's the same thing as Paco, but in reality, it is kind of cool to compare, like, yeah, do this and I'll do it and let's see who could fucking last through this, right? So it is a kind of a cool thing to do. And he looks great. He looks indestructible again. And the whole crowd starts chanting, Nuksu Cow, Nuksu Cow.
Which I believe loosely translated means badass honky.
I think so, right. I thought they were saying, not so loud, not so loud.
About that fucking music?
Yeah, they were talking to those guys with those...
Songs driving me crazy.
So Eric reads the headlines in a dark hospital room and then crunches the paper and throws it in the corner.
Oh, he's getting mad that his brother's successful.
Right, which I guess is better than Adrian lining a birdcage with it, so...
Nice.
It's not that bad. So Eric shows up to Zian's house. Then you see Kirk in that warrior place again, and you see like the silhouette of him training and the sunrise behind him. Okay, let's get to the score of this movie. I know we all love Bloodsport. You know, we gushed about that. Let's talk about this. This, for me, it was Kickboxer and Bloodsport. So, to me, both of these soundtracks are completely ingrained in my brain. Like, It's hard to say this is as good as Bloodsport, but it's damn close. Like, I think Paul Herzog did both of them, right?
It's damn close.
I'm not.
Van Damn close.
I'm not sure who did this score. I will say the Bloodsport score is much more ingrained in my brain than this one, but that's just probably because I watched Bloodsport way more than I watched this movie. But no, the score in this movie is fantastic.
Yeah.
It's unreal. Like, and it is available on Spotify, too. Like, you could hear the whole thing. Well, Chris can't, but everybody else could hear the whole thing. Yeah. Yeah, this music is phenomenal. Check it out wherever you can. It's really great, especially if you're training to fight an alien from another planet with a big long ponytail and nothing else on his head. So he starts to hear those warrior sounds. So check this out. So my wife comes home at this very minute, and just from hearing the clank, clank, and the da-da-da-da-da clank, she said, "Oh my God, you're watching this again?" I was like, how the fuck do you know what movie this is from those sounds? So my wife hears those sounds.
So has she seen it that much, or you've just had it on that many times and she just got used to that music?
I usually watch it with her. I kind of like subject her to my stuff, yeah.
Yeah, see, my wife would be like, "No, I'm not watching that. I'm going downstairs. You watch whatever the fuck you want."
Yeah?
Yeah, she wouldn't watch it drivel with me.
Oh, yeah. She's seen this like 10 times.
Oh, wow.
But she loves it. She's always like, kick the tree. She loves it. All the time. So Kirk gives Mai Lee flowers, hooks up with her again. This time she is okay with it. He kicks those flower pots filled with water, and his brother's just staring at him. And then his asshole brother tries to talk him out of this fight, saying, "He put you in that chair." And he goes, "Yeah, I don't want you pushing one right alongside of me." So,
dude, this guy cannot deliver a convincing line of dialogue to save his life. I'm talking about the brother, not the man.
As much
like
as
when this movie was over, I had convinced myself that Van Damme deserved an Academy Award for this movie. But then I realized, no, that's just how bad this other fucking guy was at delivering dialogue. It's so robotic and forced sounding every time he delivers a line.
It's like the brothers, every single line of dialogue, as much as I love Eric the Eliminator, every single line of his dialogue is something out of like an after-school special.
Yes. It's just so forced and
just plain
unconvincing.
It's just it's done.
I was going to ask you some of the depths of his character. He has none, or at least he doesn't know how to deliver any. But do you feel that he was saying this to Kurt to actually spare him from his fate, or do you think he's just a jealous little bitch who knew that, just like when he threw the newspaper on the ground, that his brother's going to get all this notoriety and recognition, and he's a loser in a wheelchair now?
I can see it both ways, because why else would they have shown those scenes, like when he's crumpling up the newspaper and all that stuff, other than to portray jealousy and envy and stuff like that?
Well, then even Kurt even says to him when he's saying that whole like, "I don't want to see you in the chair with me." He was like, he's like, "Look, I've come a long way. I've become an even better fighter than you, and your best like whatever.
Better than you ever were."
Exactly, yeah. And I'm like, oh, like I was expecting a little more sibling rivalry than we actually got, because it kind of just ends here.
That's always a laugh out loud moment for me when he goes, "Better than you ever were." I'm like, damn.
As he's kneeling down talking to his own brother who's in a fucking wheelchair.
In 3 months, he went from no experience to being better than his brother, who was the kickboxing heavyweight champion
for years. Right.
Yeah.
Like, wow. He beat every single person. There's no one else to fight in America. That's how long he's been doing this. And yet, Kurt is better than him in 3 months.
Right.
Wild.
Wow. That is the ultimate fuck you. And to tell him that. So how weird that Friday the 13th Part 2, we have a guy getting caught upside down in a rope and a guy in a wheelchair.
Oh, wow. No shit. And a dog.
Funny enough, I have that in my notes.
You do?
I have the brother in the wheelchair gets jumped by some bad guys, and he's actually able to fight one or two of them off. I was waiting for Sackhead Jason to come out of nowhere and bury a machete in his face.
Oh, my God.
Because we all know Sackhead Jason hates men who are confined to wheelchairs.
Wow.
Every time I see a wheelchair, that's all I think about is Friday the 13th Part 2.
That's just wild that I fucking watched that basically this morning, and now it's holy shit.
That's weird, dude.
Alex Effect.
Yeah. So, we're going to fight the ancient way. Hands wrapped in hemp and dipped in broken glass. Bullshit! Kurt, I'll kick your ass myself! Get back here! So what do you guys think of that? That they're going to fight the ancient way.
Oh, I love it, man. Just the whole aesthetic of that fucking... The wrapped hands dipped in broken glass, even though that doesn't even come into play until, the final round of the fight. Still, though, it's awesome, though. Have you seen Hot Shots Part 2?
Oh, when he dips it in the caramel and then
dips it in caramel, and then he's got gummy bears and M&Ms and shit.
Crushed Oreos.
Yeah. He's got all those options. Oh,
and
my God.
Nuts. He chooses the M&Ms. I would have taken the Oreos myself. It probably would hurt more. Now Van Damme's training, and this guy Zian is going after him with these rods that are fucking glowing at the end because they're so hot. Is this necessary? Like, I get it. Like, okay, do not touch the ends of these things. Would you have to scold me to death to get this across? Like, can't you just... I don't know. There's got to be a better way.
It's like, I don't even... Yeah, it's like, that's just the way they do it. Like
the ancient way of training.
I guess, yeah.
So Freddy Lee goes to the warlord, or whatever his name is, and he's asking him for $1 million to bet on Tong Po. And he says he has it all figured out. There's a reason he's guaranteed to win. So Tong Po, in one of the most darkest scenes in these movies, he brings Mai Li to his hideout and brings her to his room when he turns around and looks at her and fucking smacks the shit out of her and then proceeds to rip her clothes off and rape her.
Ugh.
Yeah, I can't believe she would cheat on Van Damme like that.
But yes, she totally cheated on Van Damme. I don't even know if he's going to take her back after he finds out. We'll see. He addresses it later, but...
Oh, God. He's devastated at that point.
So, Freddy Lee, his guys, like we were saying earlier, kidnap Eric, thank God.
They dump him out of his fucking wheelchair.
Oh, I wish they did so much more.
Well, then the asshole throwing knife guy throws it into the fucking dog.
Yeah, that poor dog.
I'm not a dog person, but I even felt bad.
Me neither. So this all essentially happened because Winston was late. Because he just got there when it was over.
Right, yeah.
And he said he was busy with other businesses or something. And he just got...
I find Winston annoying in this whole movie. I'm not into that character at all.
Well, then you're going to love this scene. So, Van Damme says, he goes, you saw this? He goes, nah, you think I would have let him take him if I was there? So he goes, you've done it before. Do you know the fucking depths of what that means? He abandoned somebody who needed him before. He's bringing up that Vietnam shit.
Right, yeah, exactly, yeah.
I was like, wow, what the fuck, dude?
Yeah, just straight up fucking right at the fucking heart.
This guy owes you nothing. He brought you to Zian, he did all this, he brought your brother to the hospital. He doesn't have to do anything. He warmed up to you, brought you to the pink pussy, and this is how you talk to him?
Well, it's also...
But yeah, how fucked up, and the way Winston looks at him well, that was fucked up. I don't think I deserved all that.
No, which he really fucking didn't.
And he proceeds to help Van Damme again get his brother back. Even after he said that. What an asshole. I always hated that he did that to Winston. See, you guys don't like him, but I like him enough.
I don't mind him. I don't outright hate him. It's just he's he's kind of like I wouldn't say a non-character. He just doesn't have a lot to do in this movie until the end.
Yeah, his character arc isn't very strong.
But I don't think it's a Steven Seagal effect. I don't think like Van Damme made that happen. I just think that there really is no time for him.
I agree, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of how I felt. Like they shoehorned him in almost just in random parts.
He was there to serve a purpose. It was done.
He's only there strictly to get, like, his character is introduced in the beginning just so he can do what he does.
Just to show up, exactly, right.
Yeah.
So then this movie gets even weirder, as if that wasn't... We have, like, a bunch of dark moments, like the rape, then him saying, you've done it before, and then Mai Lee goes to Winston, who is disgusted with Van Damme right now, and he says, Tong Po raped me. And then he takes a cigar out of his mouth, he's looking at her like, what? And then she goes, but don't tell Kirk. His mind must be clear for the fight. And he's like, are you fucking people insane? He goes, we just have a kidnapping, almost a murdered dog. You were raped, and our main focus here is Kurt's fight? Like, who gives a fuck about this fight, if he wins or not?
Yeah, even Kurt doesn't give a fuck when he finds out that Mai Lee got raped. That's all he was thinking about.
Hmm?
Tell me the truth, or whatever it is he says.
Tell me!
Yeah, tell me!
Yeah, like...
She's like, yeah, fuck him. I mean, what do you want me to say?
Yeah, right. Whatever.
For a bunch of people who never even knew who Kurt was 3 months ago, they care an awful lot and working really hard for the result of this fight. I mean, whew, it's a lot. So Eric's being held in that hideout of Tong Po. Tong Po, he dips his hand in the glass. He licks the glass.
Got the bloody tongue. Psychopath.
Yeah. Freddy Lee has the best moment in this movie. He's like, you want brother alive? Let Tong Po punish you. All the rounds. Or brother die very slowly. Understand? Huh? And he walks away like, what the fuck, dude? Was this like a movie villain moment? Am I watching James Bond?
I was going to say, or fucking watching Scooby-Doo.
Yeah. I need to isolate that laugh you just did, Alex, because that is fucking gold.
What do you think of Freddy Lee? Is he as imposing as he's supposed to be?
He's not imposing at all, because he's like your typical dipshit mob boss. Like he's like if I was the boss and I had you two guys who are fucking huge go out and do my bidding. Like I'm the fucking scrawny guy and I have the two tough guys doing the fucking thing. Like Freddy, he's fucking bullshit. Yeah,
he's definitely no Terry Silver.
But do you fear him the way he's supposed to be, just because of what his guys will do?
I guess just because of the clout he has and the muscle surrounding him, but just him, like, isolated, no.
Yeah.
He's not a really good villain in my eyes.
No.
I don't walk away from this movie remembering that character.
Right, exactly.
Right. Yeah, they didn't build him in... I get it, and I go along with it, but they didn't build him up in the sense that I feel the weight of his power.
Right.
That's what I mean, like Tong Po is the villain, and you would think that, like, they don't even need... Like, you could have deleted the whole Freddy Lee aspect of this movie, and it still works.
Yeah,
for sure.
Like the guys taking the tax from Mai Lee's store. Like it was all supposed to be a Freddy Lee build-up thing, but what does he really do besides talk about letting him fight at the bar, and then he has like one other moment that is escaping me. Asking for $1 million.
Yeah, and then or in the beginning when they look up at him after.
And he's
Tong Po yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, when he goes, I want Tong Po. He goes. It's like,
right.
Okay.
Yeah, like that's about it. Like you don't like, yeah, his muscle is really the villains of this movie. He's a dud.
Right. So why does Freddy Lee have such little faith in Tong Po? Is it because he was trained by the old man?
Why would I guess otherwise? Why would he even have to bother telling Van Damme to let Tong Po punish him? That would just be a foregone conclusion that Tong Po was going to beat the shit out of him. But they're so impressed by this guy in 3 months of what he became that they basically have to threaten him in order to lose the fight.
Yeah, I guess they were that impressed by Zian's 3 months of training when they saw him fight at the bar, because it's not like they kidnapped Kurt when Eric was about to fight Tong Po.
Well, they saw this little warm-up flurry in the locker room. We're like, what a pussy.
They're like, Tong Po, when he's doing all that, you can just kick him right in the head, right? Oh, yeah. So the fight starts. It's a rough first round. You get to see Tong Po's ass during a lot of this. His cock is in like this little package in the front too. Very disturbing. I wish I didn't have the Blu-ray. Maybe I don't want a 4K of this.
So I guess this is a good thing I watched it on a fucking like pirate stream.
Oh yeah, I can see ass hairs, dude. No, I was kidding. No, I didn't see that. He doesn't have a hair on his body. What, are you kidding me?
I like how Tong Po, though, at the beginning of each round, points to the body part on his own self of what he's going to use to beat the shit out of Van Damme. Like he points to his knee before the first round starts and then does nothing but knees. And then the second round starts and he points to his elbows, and all he does is murder him with fucking elbows.
Oh.
Did someone not tell Kurt that he's supposed to do that during these ancient fights? Or is this just something that Tong Po decided to do to show how simple this is?
I think Tong Po's just doing it just to show that he's like so cocky, and he's like, I'm gonna fucking win. He's like, I'll give you a fucking cheat sheet of what I'm gonna do.
I'm telling you exactly what I'm gonna do, and you're not gonna stop me.
Right? Yeah.
How about the part where he like does it, that he does his forehead and goes like this?
Yeah.
That was so funny. I will say, like, Tong Po did have all his like swag of that way.
Oh, he had great screen presence for sure.
100%. Yeah.
It's just, that's why it's so mind blowing that that's the same guy from Bloodsport who basically is just a nobody in that movie.
Yeah, he got his shin cracked out. We didn't even realize the tie-in.
The shin?
He kicks the thing with his shin, and in this movie, his shin gets popped out.
Yep.
Fractured. Yeah. Oh shit. Okay. All right. That's who I thought he was. He looks in Bloodsport more like the guy he plays in Lionheart than he does in this movie, in Kickboxer.
Right. So, round 2, Tong Po is only using his elbows. Winston shoots up that hideaway. Zian puts hook up guy's asshole who knifed his dog.
Yeah, what the fuck, dude?
Awesome.
I didn't know if they were trying to infer that it was like hooking through his balls or his ass, or if it was just like cupping him so he was held in place.
In his fucking taint.
Yeah.
Like,
his taint.
Well, I also love, though, that Xian goes like, yeah, Kiki, get revenge too, which I fucking love because I was like,
dog,
awesome.
Yeah.
So how about the amazing shot? It's like the camera's behind Van Damme's feet, between his legs, and Tong Po's in the background just going like this, and then the blood is dripping from Van Damme's like stomach to the floor right at his feet, because at this point they already used their fists with the glass on it a little bit.
Right.
That was amazing, and that's like those shots you just don't get in any of these sequels. So what do you guys think of the fight, though? Like, although it's one-sided, you have these weird moments where Tong Po's like holding his hair, and Van Damme doesn't just take his glove and like cut his wrist because he knows he's not allowed to beat Tong Po, so he's just like...
Yeah, I was going to ask that. Is Van Damme actually trying, though? Because at some points, even though he was told to lose, it still looks like he's kind of trying to land stuff.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like he's 100% like just being a ragdoll to lose.
Right, I guess that it's inferred that he shouldn't make it obvious.
Okay.
Yeah, but what do you guys think of, like, the beating he gets? This is, again, something Seagal will never do. Like, Van Damme always lets him get his own ass kicked.
Yeah. You gotta sell the comeback, that's the thing.
Right. Seagal never has a comeback.
You gotta make that Rocky moment. You gotta get the shit beat out of you, so when you come back, it's that much more epic.
Right.
Isn't that weird that Seagal never picked up on that?
The only time, I think, is in Above the Law when he's tied to that chair and they beat up on him before he kills all of them.
Yeah.
Because his face is bloodied and shit. Other than that, no one ever gets the best of him.
Yeah. You get that slight moment in Marked for Death when he's tied up too, but he doesn't even. They don't get anything on him. He rips it right out. Like they tie him up and then he's out 10 seconds later.
Doesn't he realize how cool you look when you have cuts and blood on your face and you're kicking ass? Doesn't he get it?
No,
he does.
No, he doesn't.
No, he doesn't. Yeah.
So he kicks Kurt's ass and he says, "You bleed like Miley. Miley, good fuck." And then he goes, "Tell me, did you cheat on me?"
And she goes, Kurt, I love you. Which is her way of saying, yeah, I fucked him. I'm sorry.
So then Eric shows up. He goes, "Hey, get him, Kurt." For whatever reason now he's
magical line delivery.
Oh, God.
Nooksu cow! Nooksu cow! It's so stupid.
Yeah, and suddenly he gets, just like in Rocky IV, suddenly now everyone's chanting for Van Damme, the American who showed up, and not the guy who's their guy. Yeah. For whatever reason, because I remember the Tong Po still kicking his ass at this point. Like,
yeah.
There's another Rocky tie-in. Van Damme tells Miley to cut his hand wraps off.
Oh, yeah.
Just like Rocky did to Paulie in Rocky 3 after Thunderlips threw him out of the ring. Cut my gloves off!
Right.
Paulie pulls that knife out, he's cutting his gloves off. That's what Kurt's like. He's cutting his fucking wraps off as Tong Po comes over there. He's getting his fucking wraps cut off.
Fuck.
Amazing.
Wow.
So you get the training flashbacks, too, when he realizes he could beat this guy, and she's cutting the ropes, and she's like, he's coming. He's like, don't worry. He kicks Tong Po in the face, and the fucking music kicks in, dude. It is it is so pumping. The blood starts rushing, and it is just great. You get these, like... Then you get the edits we talked about. He's like standing and just going back and forth. It's like funny edits, but it's like, I guess it helps, right? It like
100%.
No,
yeah,
it does. Yeah, and this is when we get to see the Van Damme-isms in all their glory: the slow mo, the facial, the wide open eyes, the noises.
The grunts, the noises. Plus, at this point, like, what this movie does Van Damme does a good job at is that, like, even though you have entertaining villains, you still want to see them get the shit beat out of them by Van Damme at the end.
Right.
And he does this perfectly with this one.
It's like in this fourth round, Tong Po completely forgets how to fight. He just gets the living dog shit beat out of him for this entire fucking round.
Well, I've contemplated that for years, and I will say... They did give him a few moments of sort of attempting to still do things, but then it just gets...
Yeah, right, but, I mean, he still is just getting worked like a fucking Raggedy Ann doll in this final round by Van Damme. I mean, he's not doing shit.
Like, there's one point where he's just like that, and then he just gets, like, kicked in the face or something. Yeah. Like, he just does these weird things where he just stands there, and then he gets fucking stomped in the face. And it is weird, and you wonder, would he have done this, like, 2 rounds ago? Like, it's weird. Or, like, would he have done this with any other fighter in his other fights? Like, it's just strange, right? That moment where the good guy has to, like, now kick ass and the other guy becomes incapacitated.
Right.
It's a strange thing that happens. It happened in the movie we just reviewed of Van Damme, Bloodsport. He kind of did that with Chun-Li in a little bit. But again, Chun-Li did a couple things, but just like Tong Po, but it just didn't add up to anything at that point. It just shows that somehow Kurt, in 3 months, became far superior to Tong Po. He even, like... gets kicked out of the ring, and Tong Po climbs back in with a stick with fire on it.
Yeah, he grabs a fucking torch, comes after him. I guess that's allowed in Muay Thai in Bangkok. Yeah.
Well, it pays off with the training that we had earlier with the flaming. Yeah, it's a payoff. Yeah, it's a payoff.
Nice. Yes.
And he just kicks it out of him. Yeah.
Yep.
So then you get the double punch into the heart and the stomach at the same time.
That was fucking awesome. I totally forgot about that. I love that shit.
And again, like, this is so well choreographed. Like, Tong Po even looks good getting beat up. Like, Michel Quisi is really good.
He's selling it, yeah.
Really good.
Oh, I forgot the part at the end of the third round when that's the final round when Van Damme's getting destroyed. When Tong Po lands that, he does that like double backhanded fist punch, and they do that rapid fire edit thing where they show the same punch from like 4 or 5 different shots, like boom, boom, boom. That is so awesome looking when they do that shit.
Yeah.
They show you the same punch, but from different angles in like machine gun fire. It's so effective when they do that stuff.
The Van Damme choreography is just fucking, it's impeccable.
Yeah, it really is. It's again, it's not crazy fast stuff. It's not crazy impossible to do stuff, but it's he knows how to choreograph a fight that tells a story.
Right. And at the time, I'm sure you guys can attest because I wasn't there. That's stuff you've probably never seen before.
No.
For me, for sure. Because I didn't grow up watching like Bruce Lee movies and shit like that. So all this, like, you know, other than boxing, all this combat shit was completely out of my league.
Right.
So when I saw I'd say Bloodsport was probably the first like fighting movie I ever saw other than Rocky movies, and it just like blew my mind. I was like, holy shit, this shit's real. Like, it's out there.
Yeah, a guy I work with, he's been boxing his whole life. He's like 51 or 2. And I was talking about these movies with him this week, and he was like, when we saw that shit, it was like a fucking revelation. It was basically kind of like how in like the late 2000s, how UFC changed everything as far as like that kind of entertainment goes. Like nobody had really known about this kind of shit. So he was like, yeah, like people who were like trained in like professional boxing, like standard boxing, kickboxing, and then all these other fucking mixed martial arts types. When we found out about them, we were like, holy shit. It was a literal game changer, and Van Damme was actually fucking a pioneer like for that, which is crazy.
Right.
So he beats his ass out of the ring. He does all those fast punches while he's up against that pillar, and then he just does a kick right to his face. His head snaps back into the pillar, and he is done, and Van Damme stays in that position and then kicks Freddy Lee in the face. Like, he'd be fucking murdered, bro. Like, that's the weird thing about this. Like, is
shot on sight.
Right. Is everyone okay with all this stuff? Like, did they all get murdered as soon as the camera panned away? Like, what happened here?
According to Bloodsport 2, they do.
Right.
My bad, Kickboxer 2.
Yeah, I knew what you meant. Is that what they say? They get murdered?
I've never seen it, but from what I looked up because I was interested after Alex sent that video of the fight from Kickboxer 2. It says that less than a year after the end of this movie, both Kurt and Eric are murdered by Tong Po. Like, he shoots them.
Right. Translation, they did not want Eric back, and Van Damme said no.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So then you get Never Surrender. So that was Kickboxer. Wow. All right, guys, how many shins are we breaking in a arena in the locker room before the fight out of 5? Chris.
Okay, so I love Tong Po. He's an incredible villain. You know, I like Van Damme, obviously. However, the supporting cast in this movie, at least for me, leaves a lot to be desired as far as memorable characters, acting ability, just the level that I care about what else is going on other than the fighting is just not that high for me. So, I mean, there's more good than bad in this movie, but if I'm grading it overall, I can't give it higher than 3 broken shins out of 5 as far as a complete movie, even though I love the fighting scenes in Tong Po. But as a whole, it's a 3 out of 5 for me.
Wow. That's wild. Okay. Ghoul, how many shins are you breaking out of 5 in on a pillar in an arena before the fight for Kickboxer?
So no, this is definitely like a Van Damme staple. It has fantastic fight scenes. Could have used a little more in-ring fight scenes with Van Damme, like showing that his training is actually paying off. But doesn't take away from it. It's whatever. I've enjoyed this one way more than the last time I watched it. and Tong Po is a fucking fantastic villain, and Van Damme's just really entertaining to watch. This one has creeped up on. I liked it way more than the last time I did. This is a fucking 4 out of 5.
Nice.
Yeah, I there's a little bit of a lull, but I can forgive it because the payoffs are the payoffs. They work. So yeah, and I did not expect this to be a 4 out of 5 for me. Like, I actually, going into this, I thought it was going to be way worse because the last time I watched this, I did not enjoy it at all.
Wow.
Really? Wow.
It must have been the time. Must have been like, but also like, I think now that I'm back more into these things and I'm doing it with like you two, like more like-minded people, I think I'm more like in a more level-headed space rather than just being like, fuck this. Like we could watch fucking Street Fighter tomorrow and I'd probably give that thing a fucking 5 out of 5.
You're in the action zone.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, I will agree with you. I wanted more from Van Damme in this movie, so I wish they would have shown more fights of his instead of just that one fight before he fought Tong Po.
Yeah,
just even just like 30 seconds.
Yeah,
him just beating the shit out of like 4 or 5 different guys.
Exactly. Yeah, it doesn't have to be anything special. It just has to be just like, just bang, bang, bang.
Right.
Like, let me see him fucking people up.
Right.
But yeah, 4 out of 5.
Yeah, we could have used another match with him, like a sanctioned fight.
Right.
I think. And also the one we did see, like I said, it became the rib kicking contest, and I wish that we got, that was a cool moment, but I wish we got a round before that. And then they did that in the second round or something like that,
Yeah.
And maybe one more. Like, the part that I noticed the most is, like, I was so pumped up during the training montages, and when he kicks those flower pots with water in them, as soon as that he's done landing, it stops, and then he's like saying, so, hey, Kiki, do you think I could do it or what? He never has any faith in me. Like, it immediately just went to, like, okay, we're done training montage scene kind of thing. And the reason you want more is because it's so good. Like, the training is so amazing, and it looks great, and the music is always great. He's great. I like Zian as the trainer. I think he had a great personality. He's very charismatic, and he's a memorable guy for me. He always was. Winston I liked. He was a cool guy, but yeah, there was no time for him, honestly. Mai Li was a really, she did a good job at her little role.
She was a good fuck.
She was a good fuck. She's great, yeah. So Tong Po, ultimate villain. He ranks right up there with Chun-Li to me. For it's a different type of movie, but for what it's supposed to be, he stands out. I mean, this could have been a generic nobody. Like, this is a very standout guy. Someone it's a guy of nightmares, honestly. Yeah, like I said, the score is just top notch to me. The whole thing, that whole fight, him and Tong Po, the choreographed, the from beginning to end, every minute is entertaining. Everything Tong Po does, everything Kurt lets him do, whatever. And then when it turns and then Kurt's fighting, that was all great. So this, for me, is a 5 out of 5. I love Kickboxer.
Nice.
That's my rating. This is Van Damme's top movie. It's his top 3 probably movies.
If we're gonna do villain-wise, Tong Po versus Chong-Li, who's the better villain?
I think they're just both right for what the movie they were in. I don't know if I'd compare them in that way.
I've always compared them in my head, like just head to head, like who would win. Man, I wish they'd have made a spin-off of that somehow.
Oh.
Chong-Li versus Tong Po.
If Tong Po got into the blood sport, it's Kumite.
Yeah.
Oh.
No, yeah, just throw Tong Po into the Kumite and see what happens. That'd be incredible. I mean, he was, technically, but...
They actually fought each other, yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
But as Tong Po.
Yeah, I would like to see him walk up to Chun-Li like this and just
Right.
get in his face and start doing his thing. I would love that.
I'm gonna say it. I'll say it. Personally, I think Tong Po would have fucked Chong-Li up.
Wow. Maybe.
In an alternate reality, there's a movie where that happened.
We should do, AI it somehow.
No, you fucking made a movie with your iPhone. Make it.
Yeah, they're both 80. I can't. All right, guys, that was Kickboxer. Great time. Definitely Love always doing Van Damme, and we will see you next week.